72 hours have passed since the Miller family last ate. In a darkened kitchen, Mark sits in total silence, his face hidden in his palms. He is staring into a pantry that contains nothing but empty wire shelves. Every minute that passes is a reminder of the physical toll starvation is taking on his body and his mind. He keeps his head down because his children are in the next room. If they see the tears he's fighting back, they'll know exactly how close they are to the end of their rope. While his stomach is empty, the weight of his failed responsibility as a father is what truly paralyzes him in this moment. 3 days of silence and pride finally give way. The quiet endurance Mark has tried to maintain reaches a point where it simply cannot continue. He lowers his hands and speaks. It isn't a shout, but a thin, jagged whisper directed at the empty walls. "Lard," he says. "Just a little bread is all we need." It is the smallest possible request for survival. He waits, but the only sound is the wind rattling the window pane. The house remains cold, dark, and indifferent. Mark has no more plans and no more strength. If his family is going to eat, the solution will have to come from somewhere outside of his own power. 10 minutes pass. Mark is still sitting in the dark when the stillness of the house is suddenly interrupted. A firm, rhythmic knock sounds at the front door. Mark forces himself up and moves to the entryway, his mind racing to figure out who could be out on a night like this. Standing on the porch is a tall man. Despite the sub-zero temperatures and driving snow, he wears only a thin, bright white linen shirt. The man doesn't shiver or hunch his shoulders against the gale. He stands perfectly still, seemingly untouched by the freezing winter air. The stranger holds 4 heavy bags, filled with high-quality fresh produce, thick cuts of meat, and essential staples. Look at the difference in scale here. Mark asked for a single loaf of bread to keep his children from starving. He was met with a massive surplus that outweighed his request many times over. The stranger hands over the bags with a smile that carries a warmth Mark hasn't felt in years, like a sudden burst of summer light in the middle of a storm. Before Mark can ask a single question, the man says, "The Father knows you are hungry." The family's immediate hunger is gone, replaced by a surplus that far exceeds anything Mark had dared to hope for. Stunned, Mark turns back toward the hallway for a second, to call out to his children, his hand still gripping the heavy grocery bags. By the time he turns back to thank the man, the porch is empty. The visitor has disappeared into the dark. Mark steps out onto the walkway to see which direction the man went, but he stops when he looks down at the ground. The fresh snow covering the porch and the entire walkway is completely undisturbed. There isn't a single footprint leading to or from the door. The groceries in Mark's arms are real and heavy, yet the snow shows no sign of the man who just delivered them. Mark goes back inside and shuts the door. He stops looking at the empty street and looks instead at the life-saving evidence sitting in his kitchen. The shelves that were bare 10 minutes ago are now overflowing with food. The shame of being unable to feed his children has vanished, leaving Mark with a conviction that he is no longer facing these struggles alone. At the exact moment Mark ran out of options, a supply he couldn't account for arrived